All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys about your first check for understanding. Now, I saw a few really good examples and a few that could use some improvement. Again, it's normal to make mistakes, and I don't want you to feel like you have to master something the first time around. However, you are allowed to use notes on these, so you should make sure that you are doing a good job. Again, these counts for 10 points in your assessment section, so make sure you're taking them seriously. So I wanted to talk about how to do these. First, here's a table. So for step one, there are three blocks. So I fill that in. Step two, if I count those, three and then six. And then step three, I count three, and then another three is so six, and then another three, so nine. And I can tell that this is an arithmetic sequence, and my common difference, or what I'm increasing by, is three. So it goes 3, 6, 9, 12, and then 15. So what we need to do is create a function. Now I showed you the brief, kind of like informal way to start that. So you could do a starting number. So you could put start is 3. And then your next number is equal to now, whatever you have now, plus 3. Now, that's more of an Algebra 1 understanding of sequences. We need to be more formal. So I'm going to show you how to take this idea and put that into the terminology that we need for Algebra 2 and what you'll need for moving forward into pre-calc next year. And I'm going to show you how to do that using notation and using Math Editor in Google. So if you click up here, insert, and then type in equation, we're going to insert a math equation. So when we do that, first I need to put my u sub 1 term because this is step 1. So I look up here and we're going to insert one like this because I need a subscript. So I put that in and then I put u and then I hit the cursor key over and I hit u sub 1 and then the cursor key over again and press equals 3. And then I put a comma because now that does the start term. So my start number is 3. That's how I say that in symbols. U is just a name for the sequence, and this sub 1 just says it's a first term. Now for the overall rules, the next term is just the u sub n sequence. If I go on to n or go on forever. So again, I need that subscript. So I press this x to the a, and I call it capital U and then sub n, and then hit over, and then hit equals, and then again, I need the u sub n minus 1, which is a term before it. So then I press u and then sub n minus 1. And then again, I put my common difference that I'm adding 3, so plus 3. So that's in symbols how I could do that. A lot of you guys just attach your math work, which is totally cool because I write this out by hand first and then put it in the computer, even in my math homework that I'm doing now. I write it out by hand, then I put it in the computer because that helps me process it. I'm also much faster writing it out by hand than putting it in the computer, but you guys might have the opposite experience, which is totally okay. So now we need an explicit function. Well, for an explicit function, this is similar to your like y equals mx plus b, but it's a little bit different. There's two forms that you really could use depending on if you start from the 0th term or if you start from the first term. So I'm going to show both. So let me label this. If you start from the 0 term, which is not on the table, but I could add that over here if I put step space, 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 0. The boxes would be 0. If you remember, our idea would be y equals mx plus b. But in sequence form, typically what we write is y equals, and then instead of b or y-intercept, I call that the 0th term. So I'm going to put in u sub 0 so that you can see the general formula. Oops, and I need to delete that whole thing. And I think I got to get rid of this underline to be able to insert that. So I'm going to get rid of the underline, or get rid of the italics. Get rid of the oh, I'm adding more underlines. Whoops. I'm just going to go back and backspace it all. Okay. So now I'm going to insert or hit a new equation, and that worked. And I'm going to put in the general equation, which is y equals, and then u sub 0. So I got to arrow over to get that down, u sub 0, and then plus, and then remember shift plus. So you got to press that shift equals. A lot of you guys made that mistake where you had two equals. And then you put plus the common difference, which is d, and then times n. So in our problem, that would become y equals 0 plus 3n, or you could just put y equals 3n, which a lot of you guys did put. Now, I'm going to enter down and then tab over. And then let's say if you started from the first term, here would be your equation. So y, oops, let me just insert a new equation so that it has the cool italic script. So y is equal to, and then again, I need u sub 1. So I hit capital U and then subscript 1, and then cursor over, and then plus d times. And now what I do here is I don't just do n, I need to move it back 1. So I press put in n minus 1. If I fill in my numbers there, it's going to be y is equal to, my u sub 1 term is 3, and then plus 3 times n minus 1. And we could use the distributive property and show that these two equations are equal. So what I wanted to do was allow you guys to correct your mistakes and give you half your points back. So I'm going to send this out to all of you. And if all of you finish this by the end of the day tomorrow, September 8th, you can get half your points back.